No good deed goes unpunished. So, Donald Trump's 34 felony convictions resulted in a ton of MAGA campaign donations in May, they say. Welcome to MOMocrats MOMochat, part of the Demcast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Karoli and Aliza Worthington, both of crooksandliars.com. And so they're very busy touting these fundraising numbers, right?
We kind
Yeah,
of
I
knew
don't
that was
buy
going to
it.
happen, didn't we? Didn't we
Yeah.
sort of like, we knew he was going to get,
He loves it. Every legal setback is another opportunity to grift some more off his people.
for sure.
Right. I don't buy it. And the reason I don't buy it is because they're not backing it up. They're just making claims, but they're not backing it up. So until the FEC reports actually come out, I don't buy any of it. I don't think that there was some excessive giving that happened as soon as he was convicted. That's bullshit. Maybe they moved some money over from PACs or something. I don't know, but I'm just saying. I don't think the majority of people I know would not just go, "Oh my God, he just got convicted on 34 counts. Here, let me write a check."
Yeah,
They just wouldn't.
He needs the money so badly now.
Right.
Now I'm going to give him money.
Right. Exactly. So I don't buy any of it. They're claiming they have more cash on hand than Biden. You know what they're not talking about? They're not talking about the fact that Biden, excuse me, we have planes flying overhead. Anyway, they're not talking about the fact that Biden had the biggest fundraiser in the history of the Democratic Party this week with Jimmy Kimmel and former President Barack Obama. They're not talking about that. And that was a big deal. I mean, the only thing that they say about that is they miss basically a badly edited video where they're claiming that he wandered off or froze or something on stage.
We talk about all the stupid, bad videos, that apparently people are falling for. I mean, you saw the whole Sinclair thing where they are disseminating these things on local
the
news.
Sinclair thing is super dangerous because
Yes.
that like 70% of people watch, Sinclair local stations.
Right. And some of them are like major network affiliates.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. We have one too, don't we?
Yeah.
Or did they not?
No, it didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
It didn't happen. That deal fell through. Los Angeles is safe from Sinclair Broadcasting.
Safe from Sinclair. Well, that's good.
For
but
now.
I mean, yeah. So I don't know if they're falling for it necessarily. I mean, like, there's a lot of people that will fall for anything like that. There's just gullible, right? So, and they want it. It's confirmation bias. It's like, yeah, I want to believe that Biden is old and senile, but I just saw a supercut of Trump wandering around and wandering away and having to be dragged back. I mean, this is pure projection. It's pure projection.
Yeah.
It's they sat down and said, you know what, we've got a problem with Trump. He doesn't stay where he's supposed to. He wanders away. He does these things. We got to make it look like Biden does that.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you guys have seen the interviews with Ramin Satuda, the entertainment journalist who's got a book coming out. He's examining how Trump went from failed businessman to reality TV star to president of the United States. And he's an
entertainment reporter?
Entertainment reporter who has interviewed Trump many times, and in fact has interviewed him more times than any other journalist since he left office. And he says that Trump can't remember a goddamn thing.
Yeah. He couldn't even remember that he'd spoken to him before. I mean, that's how bad it was. And I mean, we've got a couple of posts on it because it's so shocking and not shocking all at the same time. Right. And so the more I read, the more I heard from this guy, the more I realized that what they're doing is they are trying to make it look like it's Biden with the problem because they really have a problem with Trump. And, but- and you have the whole right wing media ready to prop him up. So you
Yeah.
have, uh, you know, Greg Gutfeld or whoever, I don't know who it was. It was Jesse Waters, I guess, saying, oh, he was just having fun. He's just goofing off when he goes off
Goofing
about
off.
sharks and electrocution and all that shit.
Oh, for God's sakes.
We laugh.
Aliza, your look is just so classic right now. It's like,
I don't even I don't even know how to wrap my brain around like
Well, I mean,
people.
look at it. You've got a figurehead, popular figure to take control of the country. And then the Heritage Foundation and all the other underlings who are going to put Project 2025 into place, you know,
right.
can just go
They're
ahead and
the
do it.
They just need him to hold the office. That's
Right.
all they need. And
Right.
then
I
they
am
do the rest.
stuck.
Right. It's
I'm
insidious.
stuck on the stupidity of them trying to pass off his complete irrational incongruity, like his total inability to like finish a sentence or know where he's going or remember Nancy Pelosi's name or anything like that, as a joke, as goofing around. I like does he I don't
But it
know. I don't
plays
know
right
why
into,
I'm
like I
so
said, it plays
dumbstruck
right
by
into
this.
the audience's need to have an explanation. I mean, you have to think that normal
Like
people, not
like
the cult,
some things make sense. Like it's loathsome and vile, like locker room talk for talking about grabbing a woman's pussy. Like, oh, that's just locker room talk. Like those sorts of things. I know. I'm not saying it's vile and loathsome and abusive and all that. But like one thing, you can see the line where one thing leads to another. But Trump's like like the way he talks now,
You,
attributing that to goofing around.
you can
It's like
see.
that's not how people goof around. That's not how like they don't. Do Republicans just not understand humor? Are there no?
Yes, that's true.
Isn't that
I mean, I think that's part of it, but part of it is also that your average Fox News viewer who has even just a little bit of intellectual honesty, and there are some, right? Look at Trump and they think, what the hell is wrong with him, right? And then they look for an explanation, and Fox News gives it to them.
yeah? But if
That's
they
the
have
thing.
intellectual honesty, they don't buy that, and they'll
Well,
do what
maybe
I did.
intellectual honesty wasn't the right word. Maybe it's just that something in their gut says this is not right. I don't know. He's not.
It's like
He's
they have
acting
to be
like
able to
my
discern that
senile
that's
grandfather. I don't know.
yeah. He's not just goofing around. There's something wrong with him. There are synapses that are not firing, and like I just don't understand like the stupidity, either the absolute stupidity of someone who would buy that as an excuse, or the willful hatefulness, the willful hatred, like the somebody who wants a dictator so badly, someone who wants a dictator daddy so badly that they will accept the shittiest possible reasoning.
Bing,
Those
bing,
are the
bing, bing,
people
bing,
that,
bing, bing.
yeah,
It's not
I mean,
just that they want a dictator, it's that they hate two-thirds of the country.
oh,
Pretty much.
and in order to, so sorry, dictator adjacent, maybe, I don't know, they're
Oh no, they're happy with him being a dictator as long as he elevates them and denigrates the rest of
yeah, like
us.
he gives a shit about them,
He doesn't, but
right?
this is why the business people, the CEOs that are Trump curious
Yeah.
are so infuriating because they all do know better. And looking at short-term gain in form of tax breaks is just, I mean, Joe Biden has given them the best economy they've had in their lifetime. Their profits are through the roof.
Yep.
What the hey? What is with these people?
They want more. They want
Reid
more. I mean, and
Hoffman,
that's why why did Timothy Mellon just give Trump $50 million? He gave him $50 million because he wants to keep his tax cuts. And
right,
they're going to expire next year.
right,
So, I mean, they were set up to be an election issue in 2024. At the time, they thought that they'd have Trump in office and 2024 would be the battle between the new Republicans and
right.
the Democrats. That didn't happen. So,
I have a headache.
it was always set for the tax cuts to expire in 2025, and they will expire
Yeah.
unless unless Trump takes office. So that's why Timothy Mellon gave Trump $50 million. He doesn't like Trump. He doesn't want anything to do with Trump. He just wants his tax cuts. And that's what so many of them are, of the powerful guys, that's that are backing him. But then, on our side of things, we have Melinda Gates
Yeah,
now, endorsing Biden. She's never endorsed anybody.
right.
And I'm sure that there's going to be money that goes with that too. So
Yeah. Yeah, she's given a ton of money to reproductive freedom,
mhm.
and she endorsed Biden. Reid Hoffman also had a wonderful thread this today or yesterday where he was just explaining why the other CEOs are being so short-sighted.
Who had the
Yeah.
thread?
Reid
Reid
Hoffman,
Hoffman.
he's one of the
He's the
founders of
Netflix.
LinkedIn,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
So
you've got
there's
Mark Cuban, you've got Reid Hoffman, and you've got Melinda Gates.
right. You sort
On
of
her
have
side.
a battle of a battle of the money. This is why some of the populist messaging is that there's, that both sides are, billionaire bound or whatever, because we have ours and they have theirs. But
Their
what we don't
networks
have that they
so
have
funny,
is
and
this
their networks,
infrastructure.
yeah.
I mean, if think about when we talked to Tom Stair, Donna,
If
in
only
2015, was it?
instead of him deciding to run for president, he could have done some real good.
He could have built some infrastructure that would have
Yeah,
lasted through today, and which is what
yeah,
I mean. The reason the Heritage Foundation wrote their platform is because they put their money into these permanent, longstanding institutions like the Heritage Foundation, and they just turned over their Get Out the Vote operation to Turning Point USA, FYI.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, like, a lot of people scoff and say Charlie Kirk, doesn't have any experience with this. He's not, he's not good at it, whatever. That all may be true, but he is looking for the evangelicals,
yep.
and because they need them. If they don't have the evangelicals, they lose. So that's what his task is, to make sure that they go to the ballot box and vote.
So it's okay if you're a white evangelical to use the church to turn them out, but not if you're a
Right,
black Democrat.
Right.
right. That's true. All of that is true. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to use the white evangelical church to turn out their vote. And we can, it's still evangelical churches have lost like half their congregation in the last 10 years. So
Mm.
I I'm not as freaked out about it as I was when Hillary was running, but still, it's something to think about.
Yeah.
So
Circling back
mhm.
to Trump's state of mind, they've been
Such as it is.
replaying a lot of, because of the debate.
Mhm.
They've been replaying a lot of his speeches and debate performance from 2016. And, even as a layperson who doesn't pay a lot of attention to him, I can see big changes
Mhm.
in his speech patterns in 8
Yep.
years and how he looks.
Mhm.
They keep ragging on Joe Biden for looking like an old man, but have they looked at their candidate lately?
Have they
Right.
seen Joe Biden like ride a bike? Like in bike
ride a
shorts
bike.
and a
He
helmet.
just did like 2 consecutive trips to Europe, and and
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
and survived them just fine. He didn't need I would have needed a day of rest before I did anything, but he didn't. He
Curly,
just
I spent Sunday at a jazz festival,
Mhm.
Powerful Jazz Festival, and it took me 2 days to recover from that, just from sitting in the sun,
Yeah.
Right.
let
Well, that'll
alone
take it out of you.
Actually, it would.
international
Yeah.
flight back and forth like that,
Yeah.
Right. And everything. So
with all the
I mean,
meetings and everything
this
that
whole
goes with that.
this whole debate about is Biden old? Yeah, Biden's old. He's 81 and
Yeah.
Trump is 78.
Yeah.
So
Like
they're
Trump
both
is a
old.
spring chicken.
The only question is what has age done to their faculties, right? I mean,
Yeah.
FDR governed from a wheelchair, so give me a break with the,
And
you
frankly,
know,
so did Kennedy.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
He was pretty young.
Yeah.
So like, so raise your hand if you think the debate's going to actually happen.
So we're divided in this household. My spouse thinks the debate will happen. I'm
Really?
not.
Okay.
I am
I have my
ambivalent.
doubts.
I think it might happen and he might walk off or something, the first time that
Oh,
his mic is muted or something.
Yeah.
okay.
So that's what I think. I mean, I think that he will not be happy about the fact that he has only so much time to speak. And they've already sent out like little feelers. I don't know if you've heard them. Like
Mm-mm.
he knows he talked too much in the last debate. He knows he interrupted Biden too much in the last debate. Bullshit.
Okay.
Who believes that?
Nobody believes that.
Uh-uh.
But, again, I think that Joe Biden challenging him and making these stipulated rules that he had to agree to was
Mhm.
brilliant.
Yeah, I do
And to
too.
have it
So
early
what are
on.
the rules, and who's moderating the debate and all that? Let's give
Dana
everybody a
Bash.
little lowdown.
It's
Huh?
on CNN.
CNN.
Yeah, it's on CNN, which I'm still gobsmacked that he agreed to that. So there's 2
Yeah.
debates that he agreed to, and neither of them are on his favorite news channels. One is CNN, and Fox News, of course, is fuming about that, which
Oh
is
yeah,
great.
they're trying to get a third debate. We got to have a third debate so that we can be involved. It's like,
So one's on
No.
CNN, and did you say Dana Bash is going to moderate?
Yeah, Dana Bash. I think it's Dana Bash and Jake Tapper.
yeah, and
So
they're going to have a strict time limit, and they're going to turn off the mic.
right.
Okay.
And that's the part that's going to drive him nuts. He's going to
Yep.
be blustering and gesturing, and he will be doing it into a muted mic.
Dead Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be awesome.
And he has a gag order.
Oh yeah,
Right. That's
Now that has nothing to do with anything actually political. But if he wants to start telling lies on national television about the judge
that's Marchand or his
or
daughter.
the court
Yeah.
or the prosecutor or
Uh-huh.
any of the other workers there, he can't do that. And Alvin Bragg today did apply for, just moved to get the gag order extended.
Yeah.
Yep, he
I
did.
saw that.
Also,
He's not messing around, Alvin Bragg.
Biden is
He's
a
not.
wily old politician,
Uh-huh.
and he's going to bait Trump like crazy. He is.
I think that's how we got him to debate in the first place. Got him to agree in the first place.
Exactly.
Hey, I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
Oh,
And
I know.
as George Conway keeps saying, the way to get to Trump is to ridicule him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does not like people
Laugh
laughing
at him.
Yeah.
Right. And everything. And he'll just melt down. I mean,
Mhm.
he cannot stand that.
Mm-hmm.
He can't stand it, which is awesome. So I totally agree.
He's going to be great. I mean, Biden's going to be great. So, so you think, Karoli, that it's you can see it happening, but you can see him walking off. Your spouse thinks it's going to happen. Donna.
Yeah, making, I mean, I can see him
I
showing up
wouldn't.
and then walking off and painting himself out as the victim, as the
In a
guy
huff,
that
yeah.
I wouldn't place any money one way or the other because it could go either way.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
either. If you did, hedge it. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't think it's even going to happen. I just think he's going to come up with some, I don't know.
I mean,
Well,
I can't imagine something like my plane broke down and I can't get there. I mean, but I do think it's weird that he would have agreed to something on CNN. I will say that. I mean, it just like
he
really?
wanted to change the narrative. It was during his trial.
And he's going to
Right.
want to be able to say that CNN was unfair to him. He's going to
Yeah.
want to be able to say, look at how poorly they treated me on CNN. You failed network. He wants to be able to do that. But they
Yes.
weren't following the rule,
So
Yeah.
next week, we'll either be talking about the debate that was or the debate that
Wasn't one or the other. Either way, we have something to talk about, but
we will
Oh my
have something
God.
to talk about because there's always something to talk about. I would love there to be a week where we don't have something to talk about.
Yeah, me too.
oh, I don't know about that. I always like to come and
Well,
talk.
I
We
would
can
love
talk
for there to be a week
movies.
where the only thing we have to talk about is like what we're watching on TV.
Or all the good things that are happening.
Yeah,
Now,
there are a
speaking
few.
of good things,
Right.
President Biden signed an executive order this week that gave, I think it was green cards, was it? Or the ability to apply for a green card for undocumented spouses
Yeah.
of American citizens or people whose children are American
Right.
citizens.
Non-deportation. In other words,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
we haven't heard a lot about that, but we have in the past where spouses of citizens were deported.
Yeah.
For undocumented spouses of citizens, and then it takes them like 10 years to get back.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So he fixed that, and then he also broadened the DACA
Yes.
provisions and the work permit, so that the work permit is a better work permit than the one that they had before,
And
and
it's a
everything.
good balance with the executive order that he signed a few weeks ago
Uh-huh.
that made it possible to halt the asylum process when we have so many people coming over the border at once,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, and
what
I
we
just like
need and what we actually need are the funding
right.
to do immigration the way that we should, which was in the bill that Trump made the Republican bill that Trump made them vote against.
Right. Right. I mean, and that's the part I was going to add. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, everybody's mad because he limited asylum, but he had to limit asylum because he doesn't have the funding or the judges to just let everybody come. Right.
Right.
So,
Right.
and they're
Because if
working
he
on the
did,
other end too.
then
One of the,
then go ahead.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to
No,
say, otherwise people would get through who shouldn't get through. And then the Democrats would get blamed for just letting anyone in.
Right.
And, and the crime wave and, all this bullshit.
and I'd like to reiterate that it's not immigrants that are committing most of the crimes.
Of course not.
And that the crime numbers are down
Big
almost
time.
everywhere in the
Down.
country.
Way down.
Way
Hi, Baltimore. Yeah. Hello, Baltimore. Can people stop on the national stage, stop citing Baltimore as like some, like some war zone? We're doing great. Thank you.
You
People
are.
love this town.
You are. You're doing great. And, New
New
York is doing great.
Yeah. Oh, well, honestly, that was one of the funniest parts of all of this, right? Is that Trump is like trying to paint New York like it's some kind of hellhole. Like, and not just him, like his family too. Like
Right.
they're so glad to be out of there because it's just a crime-ridden hellhole, and people are posting, like pictures from the, Midtown and other places going, I'm here in New York. John Amato did a whole
Yeah.
video about, I'm standing here on 11th Street and everybody's just having fun. It's a nice day outside and we're, there's
Yeah,
no
I'm
crime
here in this
here.
hellhole. I'm here in this hellhole eating, a
well, we
delicious
do it all over
taco.
California too,
Yeah.
just shots of the Bay Area, and
Yeah.
California is such a hellhole,
Oh yeah. Please don't come here. Please, whatever you do not come here because it's just terrible.
It's awful to live there, yeah. Especially the climate, especially the weather.
Yeah. The
It's
climate's terrible. It's awful.
the scenery. Nobody wants to look at anything in California. Don't come
Yeah.
to California.
It's true. I just spent 2 weeks in a hellhole called Santa Cruz.
Yeah. It's so sad.
terrible place, just terrible.
Yeah. And I only had, I had to walk to the beach every day.
Oh my
Every day.
God. I'm
I
so
know.
sorry. Are you
Yeah.
okay?
I'm okay. I am.
She misses it. She'd like to go back to the beach.
Yeah, I miss it. I would love to go back. Anyway, I mean, it's just the whole thing is so stupid, but that's what they do. They write these alternate realities and people believe them.
That's the problem. That's
Right.
what we're seeing in the polls. That's where we're seeing people are concerned about immigration. And even Democrats now are concerned about immigration. And you know what? Immigration is one of the things that drives our economy. Do
Yeah,
you know
no
what
shit.
would happen if Trump actually got to deport
my
all the
God.
people he wants to deport? What that would do to the economy?
Yeah. It would be a disaster.
It would
utter
be a
and complete
disaster.
disaster. No
So many
question.
things would come to a standstill.
Yeah.
So many things.
Well,
I mean, man
healthcare.
he has no understanding of economics whatsoever. And I say that as someone with just the teeny tiniest little knowledge of economics, because I think it's all voodoo,
Yeah.
But I know enough to know that you need workers to do these jobs. You
Yep.
don't want the crops rotting in the fields.
No.
That tariffs are inflationary.
Mhm.
Hey, let's talk about tariffs because he has such a radical plan for tariffs, and inflationary would only begin to describe it. So he wants
Yeah.
100% tariffs on everything that is
would
not made in the
double.
U.S.
It would double the cost of things.
That would be insane, right? Because there's things that are not made in the U.S. at all now that we import from other countries that, and so it would add
So he
$8,600.
wants tariffs on everything not made in the U.S., basically?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's touting the Smoot-Hawley Act as something that was a good thing when it actually made the Depression worse.
Yes. I mean, he would plunge those tariffs combined with that act would plunge us back into a Great Depression. I'm not even
And
close.
it would be around the world.
Yeah.
Because right now, our economic success is the engine for the rest of the world's economic success.
That much I get. Yeah, I understand that.
If they did 100% tariffs on imports, right? So all imports coming from other countries that are made in other countries, what are those other countries going to do, right? They're going to also do tariffs on our stuff. And that's going to also, this is sort of, in my opinion, it is an effort to move to isolationist economy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to look at Brexit, go ahead and look at it. But
they're not doing so great.
well.
That much I know.
Right.
Yeah.
And everything. So this whole idea is just, and by the way, this is so that billionaires don't pay taxes, because the idea is that these tariffs are going to cover what revenue comes in from income taxes.
Right.
So income taxes would go away, and billionaires would be fine with that. The rest of us would be paying hundreds and thousands of dollars more for everything, with no like increase in our pay.
Right. So
Would
everybody
our
needs to
income
be
tax
thinking about
go
the
away
cost of.
too?
Pardon?
What?
Would our income tax go away too under this
Yeah.
plan?
Yeah.
The whole
Okay, but it
income
would
tax
still
structure.
cost us, but a car, instead of costing us $30,000, would cost us $60,000 if it was an imported car.
Right.
Right.
And
Or if there were parts
we
in
wouldn't
the
have
car that were imported.
increases in pay to cover that.
Right,
Or
exactly.
for people on fixed incomes, on Social
Right.
Security, they wouldn't increase that. In
Right.
fact, they'd do away with that.
Mind you that this has been a 100-year crusade of
Yeah.
theirs
Yeah.
to get rid of the income tax.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah,
speaking
that's
of
not-
Mellon, whose fortune is a Gilded Age fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he the Mellon of Carnegie Mellon? Is that what we're
He
talking
is.
about?
Yes.
Mhm.
Andrew Mellon was his ancestor.
Mhm. Yes. So this is their goal, and this is what I mean. This part of Project 2025 is only a small part of Project 2025, but it's something that can be done. That not abolishing the IRS, but the tariffs are totally inside of the president's purview. He can do that. So I mean, it could be the worst of all worlds, where we still have an income tax.
Oh my God,
pay,
yeah.
and everything twice as much. And the thing is, it's not going to affect billionaires.
No.
They're
Right.
not going to care. What do they care if they pay $60,000 for a car? They're going to buy their stuff anyway. It's going to be people like us who go grocery shopping and have, to deal with day-to-day bills and all the
And
rest of
trust
it.
me, the billionaires are not going to buy the 60,000 Chevy Bolt.
No. Of course not. I'm just saying that I was just trying to find an example that would have a real impact on,
Yeah.
I mean, everything's going to have a real impact. I'm just,
Everything
Right.
would have a real impact. It's a terrible idea.
yeah.
It's yes, it is a terrible idea. It's an awful idea. I mean, and this goes with the whole populist, where they throw the word globalist out. We live in a society with other countries. I mean, we live in a world with other countries.
If you don't want to be a globalist, go join Elon and fly to Mars.
Yeah.
Exactly. Be gone.
Actually,
Go.
please.
Yeah. And leave your billions behind, because you won't need them on Mars.
Yeah.
So
speaking of bad ideas,
mhm.
can we talk about originalism?
Oh God. Even Amy Coney Barrett is fighting it.
Well, apparently the Bruin decision, was that last year's decision or 2 years ago?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Bruin gun decision that
That's 2022.
basically said that you cannot make a law that would restrict a gun restriction law that would not fly in 1776 or whatever.
Right.
They painted
1792, whatever.
They painted themselves into a corner. And so,
Yeah. So today they're like, oops.
Today you have an 8-1 decision with, were there 9 opinions that were written out?
I haven't even been able to read them all yet.
I don't know.
Yeah, everybody had their own version of why they agreed or disagreed with it. And
of course, the one dissenter is Thomas.
Yeah. I mean, to me,
What a tool.
this was one of those cases where I couldn't even understand, why is this in front of the Supreme Court? Why are we litigating the question of whether a domestic abuser can have a gun? Why are we doing that?
Domestic abuser who's had 6 gun convictions.
Right. And I mean, and they're really egregious. They were just, one of them was waving a gun around and then shooting it in the air when he didn't like something his ex-wife said, or whatever. It's just
shooting into a store. You guys
have a problem with that? Come on, man. This is America.
Yeah.
Have you watched The Boys?
we all know where the hellholes are, and they're not where
Yeah, for
gun
real.
laws are good. Hi,
They're not
Kitty.
in
I see the tail.
yeah,
So,
she's making her appearance. I'm trying to
but
get her to
yeah,
settle
I mean,
down in one
like,
place.
how is this even a thing? Right? I mean, if you're convicted of domestic abuse, you don't get to have a gun. That's how it should be.
Well,
Anyway, and it is evidently not a thing. But this whole idea that that these laws have to be somehow decided in the context of what would have been true in the 18th, 19th century is crazy. I mean, it's just
because in
it's
the 18th and
nuts.
19th century, women had no rights at all. Anyone who was not a white male property owner had no rights at all.
Right.
Um, you can't do that.
But that's why
And
they like originalism.
well,
Oh yeah, no
And
question. I
that's
mean,
what's appealing about it to them.
but
And even the people who wrote the Constitution, who were white male slave owners, understood that originalism is not a good thing, or else they
no,
wouldn't have given, they wouldn't have had they wouldn't have amended their own fucking document, and given the country a mechanism to do that throughout the years.
mhm,
Like, they amended it as soon as it was written. They had
that's
10
right.
amendments to it. Okay, this is really cool, except we just realized we need to make clear these 10 things.
right.
Which
um,
included the Second Amendment, but
yeah, which includes the
you know,
Second Amendment, but like, so
muskets
these things
are
can
not
be
muskets are not the same as semi-automatic weapons with a bump stock.
right. And also,
Yeah.
amendments can be repealed, as we've learned
Yeah.
with, prohibition and things like that. It's just, so times change. And, so the whole concept of originalism is like an
How do you
anathema to the
how would
Constitution
you
to begin with.
how would you rule on something like AI in an originalist context? How would you do that? There's no
You
way. I mean,
can't. So
yeah,
anyway, they write this Bruin opinion 2 years ago, and the standard by which to gauge if a gun law is constitutional or not is so very vague and fuzzy that none of the lower courts are able to do it.
Mm.
right.
And
And that's how
so
it got back to the Supreme Court.
that's how it got back. And apparently,
Mhm.
because I haven't read it, John Roberts's opinion is such a mess, as he's like putting himself in pretzels to
I used to please
to
everyone.
to well, the outcome has to be that this terrible person should not be able to have a gun.
Yeah.
But if he was Clarence Thomas's opinion was actually the one that's consistent with Bruin, and
Right. That
everybody
makes
else
sense.
is trying to make it
Right.
work.
But and that really highlights why
Yeah.
Clarence Thomas needs to retire, because uh, he is I mean, this rigidity with which he comes at these cases, right? With absolutely um, no regard for the human cost of what he writes in his rulings is really shocking and needs to stop. So in his world, there would be no you know 17th century 18th century reason for to ban a domestic abuser from a gun, having a gun. He can shoot his wife if he wants to, because women were
That was
property.
perfectly legal back then.
Exactly.
And he's okay with
And
that.
He
he's
is.
okay with that. And that's why I feel like he needs to be gone from the court, because that is not
That's not even
how.
getting
Among
into
other reasons.
corruption.
I mean, laws are passed for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And there's a law that says domestic abusers can't have guns. And that law is there because at some point our society decided that women shouldn't be indiscriminately shot, or for that matter, men, by their partners or spouses. And because a society in the 18th century didn't decide that, we can't decide. That's ridiculous. That's absurd.
That's where we find ourselves.
Yeah. So, and I mean, if we're going to talk about Clarence Thomas, let's talk about the
The
fact that,
corruption.
yeah, I mean, that he's utterly corrupt, that he absolutely took at least three more trips with Harlan Crow. Those were the ones that Harlan Crow copped to, not Clarence Thomas,
Yeah.
by the
Yeah,
way.
we have no idea the full extent, and we probably never will. But what we do know is more than disturbing.
Yeah. I mean, he just jetted around with his pal.
Yeah.
And then tries to say, well, that doesn't mean that I did anything, that I made any of my decisions, in his favor and everything. So Harlan, let's talk, about like Citizens United and think about that for a second and wonder, really, did you not decide Citizens United the way you did because your pal had a lot of money and he wanted to be able to, spend it on elections? Of course you did. Don't be silly.
Yeah.
And the one that gets me is that he paid Ginny Thomas $700,000 in 2010 to basically be a lobbyist again, or not a lobbyist, but an advocate against the Affordable Care Act, and to get everybody ginned up about that. And how many cases on the Affordable Care Act have ended up in front of the Supreme Court? Right.
Bunch.
And Clarence Thomas just forgot to tell us that his wife got $700,000 to do that work.
He does not recuse.
And he doesn't recuse.
Again, like I said last week, Elena Cagle turned down a bag of bagels from Zabar's or somewhere.
Right. And Ketanji Brown Jackson got criticized for reporting tickets to Beyonce.
Yeah. She didn't want to appear. Like, you're supposed to avoid even the appearance of
I mean,
having been influenced in any way.
Ketanji Brown Jackson recused herself immediately when a case that involved Harvard came before the court.
Yep. Yeah. Because she sat on the lower court for that one.
Right.
So that's what a person with ethics looks like. And that's what a person who...
And we've got 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact that John Roberts tied himself in knots to make this opinion work, great, good for him. But he needs to be a leader, and he needs to make Clarence Thomas retire. And by the way, Sam Alito, well, I know our show last week got munged, so we like the whole Martha Ann thing.
I know, Vergonia. It's a Vergonia.
Vergonia. It's a Shonda and a Vergonia.
Yeah, all of that. But I mean, what Martha Ann Alito said to Lauren Windsor is shocking. It really is shocking. Yeah. And, the fact that she fantasizes about, fascist flags to put up because somebody flew a pride flag is just,
oh my God, gross. The pride flag. Oh, where are my pearls to clutch over the pride flag?
Really, please. I mean, and a pride flag is just a rainbow. I mean, it's a pretty flag.
But you guys, it might turn her gay.
I love seeing the pride flags everywhere.
I know.
I love that on Threads they've got this cute little animation. Anytime somebody has something about pride with the hashtag, you click on it, you see confetti, and it's like,
oh, really?
It makes me happy. I'm just clicking on all the pride ones,
Right.
They're beautiful.
I mean, I love there's somebody across the lake from us that has pride bunting out.
Oh,
so it's so cool. I love it. It just makes me happy every time I look at it. So, I mean, how can you look at those and just be like, I hate that thing. I hate those rainbows.
But they do. Right now there's a case in Los Angeles where an LA County lifeguard has been LA County voted to put the pride flag up in June at all county facilities. And there was one above the Hollywood Bowl when I was there. It was great. We got the California flag. It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. But this lifeguard has been, removing the pride flags from the lifeguard stations. And so then he sued. He's suing the county because he says that making him have a pride flag on a lifeguard station that belongs to the county is violating his religious beliefs. And he's been on Fox, he's making the rounds, and it's just stupid.
I
Right?
missed that.
It's
What
just stupid. I'll find it for you.
it is stupid. That's just
Stupid.
Is anyone
How
representing it? Like, what? He's suing the county?
Yes.
yeah, because he's a
Did
lifeguard
he
who has
lose
to have
his
a, who
job
has
or
a
anything?
pride flag on his lifeguard stand, which
Yeah.
doesn't belong to him.
Right. And he doesn't want to see them on the other lifeguard stands either.
Right. So he wants to take him down from everywhere.
Yeah, because it offends him. It's violating his
And
religious.
this is one of those times when I think to myself, how is it that free speech only always goes one way?
Yeah,
Right.
and how are we the snowflakes? I don't get it.
Yeah. Seriously, I don't get that either. So, I mean, this is like the 10 Commandments in Louisiana. What the hell with that? Right? I mean, so the governor signed into law this requirement that every classroom from kindergarten or pre-K through junior college, I guess, whatever public colleges there are, have to have a poster-sized copy of the 10 Commandments posted in their room. And I asked my soon-to-be daughter-in-law, who is a teacher, what she would do in that situation. She'd say, it's easy. I'd say, I'm not putting that up. Fire me. I mean, she didn't, it didn't even faze her. She was like, I'm not doing that. And everything there. How can you tell people they have to put that up? And that violates the Establishment Clause.
So,
That-
I mean, it seems so unconstitutional to me.
It is.
I don't know how, like, what is the next step? Do school systems need to sue? Do families need to sue the school systems? I don't know enough about like
Well, the interesting part to me is also that he's claiming that there won't be any cost to the state because the posters will be donated. And I'm thinking, oh, really? Who's going to donate those? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
so
who's going to donate them, and to whom will they be, beholden as a result?
It's as a result of that, right? So your question about who, I mean, I can think of a zillion different ways that people could sue, but how about a Muslim family?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who goes to school in Louisiana and is offended by the fact that this appears to be, that there seems to be an official religion in their
Right.
child's classroom.
Or a church.
I mean, that's where I would start. I would start with that. I would start with
family.
teachers, a teacher, who's also Muslim, Hindu, whatever, right? Same thing. I mean, this is, you can't, you're right.
A Jewish teacher. Why can't a Jewish teacher sue?
Oh, they could. Absolutely.
They could. Because that they're not taking the translation that we have.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen I've seen the meme going around. Here's your poster, and it's a poster of the 10 Commandments, but it's in Hebrew.
That's right.
Right.
Here, put this up. Okay. Yep. I'll put that up.
Yeah.
You want to read it? Learn Hebrew.
But my point is that that's exactly right. Right? I mean, why is suddenly this King James version of the 10 Commandments suddenly the official law of the land,
Because we have a 6-3 radical conservative majority on the Supreme Court. So they are looking to erase the line between church and state permanently. And it's why these cases keep coming. It's why we had a football coach sue so that he could take his team and have them all do a prayer on the 50-yard line, right, and said that it wasn't coercive.
Did you see that Dan Patrick is looking to do this in Texas, looking to pass a law?
Of course
Greg
they are.
Abbott, I thought it was, but yeah.
Of course they are.
I thought it was.
I mean, Greg Abbott's the governor.
Yeah, but I thought it was. Who's lieutenant governor there?
It might be. Then it might be Dan Patrick. I just think I saw Texas, so I assumed it was Abbott. Yeah. But the difference though in these two situations is that this particular this particular law actually directly abridges the Establishment Clause.
Yeah.
And it's a speech issue.
Yeah.
Right. And so now you have a court that is radical, but also has been really radical on the speech. Gorsuch comes to mind specifically.
Mm-hmm.
He's more libertarian.
Yeah.
Maybe even Kavanaugh. I don't know, but I don't think it's cut and dried in their favor in this situation. I think
Let's hope.
it's going to really be a challenge, and it's got to go to the Supreme Court fast, in my opinion.
You don't think it's cut and dried in whose favor?
In the favor of Louisiana.
Louisiana. I think that they're doing this to push the margins. There's no question about that. But this is a court who has been pretty militant on the issue of speech, right? And free speech, and also the Establishment Clause. I mean, these are basic constitutional principles. This isn't like anything gray, like praying on a football field. You could say that's kind of because there's nothing official. It's not coming from the district. It's, it's just this coach.
Yeah. Well, I know that if my kid was on the football team and they had this prayer on the 50-yard line and he's part of the team, he would have a hard time saying, no, I'm not going to pray with you.
Oh, of course. And I totally agree with you on that.
Coercive.
It is coercive, but it is not the state that is
mandating.
And that's why this is going to be a much harder case for them.
For Louisiana.
I certainly hope so, because that Louisiana governor and all of his people there. Did you see that signing ceremony?
Oh my God, that's that child.
That little girl. Did you see her? She was white as a sheet before she passed out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if she locked her knees or if it was hot or what was going on, but wow. And he just kept going on. He didn't even stop to look.
Did he even know? I mean,
because he cares about the children.
Oh yeah. Great. Yes.
Well, maybe she was having some kind of rapture experience where,
Oh God.
In the meantime, Louisiana is either 49th or 50th in educational outcomes.
Well, this will help.
Poverty, they refuse to accept federal money.
They'll pray the stupid away.
They were making progress under the previous Democratic governor,
Bell Edwards.
And now they're not.
Right.
And
that was really the tragedy of losing the Democratic governor is now they just run rampant.
Yeah.
So
I'm very, very interested I mean, not like there's a shit ton of Jews in Louisiana, but I mean, and I don't even know, like, I wonder now, actually, I'm going to look up what the Muslim population and the Jewish population is in Louisiana.
Whatever it is, we're all minorities.
Oh yeah.
I know, but I'm just curious.
Catholics are big in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And Louisiana has weird laws too. I mean, like their laws are different from everybody else. Like there's a whole, I remember this from a friend that was going to law school in Louisiana. There's a whole different universe of stuff you have to know just to practice law in Louisiana, because they have I don't know, like the French law and everything is amalgamated into their state laws. So it's an interesting place. So, but yeah, I mean, the 10 Commandments thing is crazy. It's crazy.
So is just about everything we've been talking about.
Also, the thing about it that's weird is that, do you think that kids are going to be influenced by that? I don't think so. I think they're going to make fun of it because that's what kids do.
Yeah.
Right? They're like the things that are in the classroom on the wall all the time in every classroom are not going to be, make an impression on them.
Especially I have some information from Wikipedia for what that's worth. As of the 2020 data, The estimation is there are 24,732 Muslims living in the state.
Okay.
Um,
What the heck?
prominent Jews. Let's see. Jewish pop. Oh, Penny.
Oh, is your dog barking because of the noise on my side?
Yeah. New Orleans looks like it has the largest Jewish population.
Well, that makes sense
Yes.
because we like a good party.
We like a good party and we like a good city, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Reform Judaism was the largest tradition in the state in 2020. Under 6,000 Jews.
That makes sense.
5,891.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a lot. So we've got just a few minutes left. I would like to end this on a good note, and that is that Steve Bannon had an appeal to the New York Court of Appeals to stay out of jail while he continues to appeal his day to go to jail. It was rejected. Steve Bannon is still going to jail on July 1st.
He's gonna appeal to the Supreme Court, and it'll go about as far as Peter Navarro's went, which is nowhere.
Right.
And so now what we're getting is a bunch of like whiny martyr bullshit things. Like when I just did a post or did a title yesterday about play the tiny violin for Steve Bannon because he's, like they're whining about the fact, why didn't he get a minimum security prison? Why did
he's not.
Well, maybe he should have committed a minimum security prison crime.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the other thing is he's going to get tried in September. So this is the fun part. He's going to get tried in September in New York for the We Build the Wall scam.
For the wall scam, yeah.
And he might have to stay at Rikers while he's being tried for that. That would be sad.
Oh, that would be so sad.
I told you I wanted to end on a high note. And there you go. That's it.
There you go.
That is our show for this week.
Love it.
Join us next time on YouTube, momocrats.buzzsprout.com, or on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills, along with Karoli and Aliza, and we're saying goodbye from MOMocrats. Bye, everybody. MOMocrats MOMochat is part of the Demcast family of podcasts.